Rude.
But anyhow, welcome to the weekly meeting, 726. All right. We last week we kind of got into a little fundamental conversation. And as much as I've tried to um avoid being too fundamental, I think it's in everybody's benefit to kind of understand the backdrop um that we're trading in, because I think once you understand the big picture, then selecting your trades should be a little bit easier, or maybe you should be able to take your trades with a little bit more confidence. So I want to kind of go back to the fundamentals so we can kind of recap and rehash what's going on out here in the real world, and what's kind of the fuel behind the market. So, you can go on your computer and you can type the same stuff in, and the computer is going to tell you, the dollar has dropped 10% uh, since January, right? So let's talk about that. What does that mean, right? Um, as far as for the people who don't trade, it just means that their purchasing power is dried up, it's drying up right before their eyes. People don't understand economics. They don't understand the devaluing of the dollar. Basically, if you were going to work for $20 an hour, your salary has been devalued by 10%, right? Since January. Everybody knows that Trump wants a weaker dollar. I mean, he's the president of the United States, and he's going to get a weaker dollar. Um, One way or the other, whether he can bully the Fed into weakening it, or he can do this trade talk and tariff talk into weakening it. But the dollar is weakening. So we all have to understand where our trade should be, right? If we understand fundamentals, a weaker dollar means stronger real assets, right? Does everybody understand that? Like the basics. Since we've been trading in 2020, it's always been the same. If the dollar is strong, the indices suck. If the dollar is weak, the indices are good, right? That's pretty much how it's been since, I even started looking into trading. Does everybody agree?
Can you say that again? You said if the dollar's strong, then the indices suck.
Yes. Strong dollar means weaker indices. There's a why behind that, but I just want to make sure everybody understands the general market sentiment when these things happen, right? The indices suck. Indices are just a collection of businesses. So generally speaking, whenever the dollar is strong, it's expensive to borrow the dollar. The dollar is strong, it's expensive. Businesses suffer. So the indices generally suffer. That's why
And
when
he's trying to purposely weaken the dollar so that investments will be better.
well, that too, but when you owe $37 trillion, you want to make those dollars worth crap so you can pay it. So if you talk to any economist, or you listen to any economist out there on YouTube, we're in a precarious situation. The country of America is in a dire situation. We've we have too much debt. The same way any family would be in a dire situation because you have too much debt. If you have a job that pays you $30,000 a year and you borrow $40,000, you can't pay it back, right? So we're in a situation as a country where we can't pay the debt back. Now, there's two ways to get out of it, right? The same way that Trump gets out of all his debt. You file bankruptcy, which means you default, right? Or you weaken the dollar to where it's the value is trash, and you invest money in real assets like gold, like Bitcoin, right? Because the value of that stuff will increase and as the dollar is decreasing. And now you have enough money to pay down that debt. Does that make sense? This
Yeah.
is a very rudimentary way I'm explaining this, right? It's really a lot more complicated than that because it might involve some revaluing of gold. I've heard that like 7 times in 7 different YouTube videos this week. So I just want to make sure that we're all tracking and understanding the same thing. Trump is going to get a weaker dollar. When you Google it, hey, how much has a dollar declined? Freaking 10% in 6 months. That hasn't happened in 50 freaking years. It's very significant. And if your people around you who aren't traders are complaining about inflation or whatever, bruh, just tell them hold your beer because it's about to get worse. Um, so let's just go to the
Can I ask
next.
a question? Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
So, what about Roosevelt's New Deal? Like, I thought
Roosevelt.
that that was some kind of like policy that was put in place so that we wouldn't be in this predicament.
Did you say Roosevelt? Where was Roosevelt? Like the New Deal back in the
That
20s?
was a long time ago.
100 years ago?
But I thought that that was put in place so that,
No,
never
man.
mind, never mind. I remember what
But
your brother
Naima,
said to me last week.
Naima,
It's okay. I remember.
well,
It's
hold on.
okay.
Let me.
I remember what your brother said. So,
Yeah, but in
because
the
we were
in the
talking about
70s,
safety nets, huh?
yeah, but like in the 70s, we had new money policy. Back when Roosevelt made his New Deal, I think Britain was the reserve currency. Like it's been so many financial changes since then. But just to keep us here in the current day, look at what let's look around the this is what you need to know. You see this right here?
Hmm.
This how much has gold increased in the last year? 42%. The dollars went down 10%. Gold has went up 42%. Silver has went up 30%. Everybody, everybody, they're not telling you, but everybody is getting out of the fiat and into the metals, into the Bitcoin, into all that. They're putting their money into real assets. As a trader, um, this is probably where you should be looking to make your money, right? Whether you're buying the indices once they start going up, or whether you're buying uh, these metals, whether you're buying Bitcoin. Um, and I get it. We trading with leverage, right? So we have to also time our moves, right? We have to make a decision and we have to time it based on what these charts are telling us. We can't just go and buy it with leverage when it's pulling back, right? Like I'm telling you the dollar is declining, but right now the dollar is buying, it's pulling back. So I'm not going to be selling the dollar while it's buying. I'm going to time it on the charts. When the charts tell me, okay, the dollar's finished its pullback, now it's time to sell the dollar, then you can buy GU or buy EU or whatever. Does that make sense? But you can find out or you can find the timing, you can fine tune the timing by looking at your market structure, you know, uh, which is why I was pointing out, to me, the uh the sell in GU, we had broke structure on the daily. Uh, I expected the pullback, and then I expected price to start dropping again, which all came to fruition. So to me, gold needs to pull back before it starts buying, right? I expected that long move, and I expected that pullback, the sell pullback for gold to happen. If we go to the gold chart,
Let's go to the gold chart because it pulled back 3 days.
hold on now. Well, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up, Brett. Okay, let's let me move this over. Okay, so judging by the way this candle closed, I'm expecting gold to pull back. Now, um, let me go down to the 2 day. There are a couple of areas that and I'm looking at this area as my level that it's probably coming back to, and we'll have to see. It still needs to break through. I'm going to follow price as it goes down. There are some wicks here, some order blocks in here that might reject price. But for me, I would like to see it come to this little gap area before it starts buying. Now, it doesn't mean that price can't go higher, but just looking at the structure, right? I'm going to put it on my little line chart so I can kind of talk you through my little explanation. Um, for me, this move right here created a swing low, right? Because there's a low, and we came back up for me and broke this high. So this is my swing low. This is my swing high. So if I'm just fibbing, come on, Brett. I don't want that fib. I want the actual fib. So if I'm just fibbing from this low to this high, this is my area right before the 78. Now I'm going to throw the candles back on because I don't just fib the line chart, but I'm just showing you my rationale behind what I'm looking at.
Yo, shout out Goop.
Okay, so when we started pushing up and we respected that high, um, I knew we were pulling back, and that's why I put in that gold chat. I think we got to pull back first. Um, and when I look at that weekly at the big wick that grabbed all this internal liquidity, it kind of lines up. It jives with my thought that we needed to come down here. Now, if you look at this structure on this push up, it created relative equal lows right here. So that is another area of confirmation that I think we need to go below those lows, tap into this zone right here, and then start rolling up out here. On the 4 hour, it's a bullish order block or a demand zone, however you want to look at it, that we could tap into to push higher. So that's what I think, and that's
I
what I'll
want to
be
say
looking
something
for.
real quick.
What's that?
Uh, so whether your area right here, right?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't really matter, right? But what is so important about this go chart is what we keep talking about every day. Go back to the monthly time frame. Go back to the monthly time frame because some people still don't understand this level. Now, when we created this bullish structure, what did we create? An inside bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when we created this inside bar, this is the monthly time frame. What will we do? We run the high. Remember, this high and low is something very important about inside bar. If we were to go bearish, we need to run the high and go down. If we are to go bullish, we need to run the low and go higher. So what will we do? Last month, we ran the high. So time frame, again, very important. Now, when we run the high, because we are in the monthly time frame, what time frame are we supposed to go to? The daily time frame, correct? When now this is very interesting. So people still don't understand how you use this inside bar, the time frame alliance, and what you need to understand. Now, this is the daily time frame. So can you take out your feed a little bit? You can put it on back later. Okay, so let's see the chart from the back.
You say it from where?
Like this here, right there. So this was the previous month high right here. When price created this low, we run higher. We run the high of that inside bar, which is the previous month high. Price reacted. It failed to close above it. So which tells you that we've run liquidity. When price started selling, we broke this structure. So because this was from the 1 month and the daily gave you a choke that price needs to sell. I know you are expecting price to come here. For me, I think price is going to run this area. I know we already see a break of structure with your line chart, but in the candlestick chart, there is no break of structure for me. So which means whether here or the low, it doesn't matter. If you can sell gold up to this point, it's a lot of money. Whether to here, it doesn't matter. But yeah, gold is coming down. But from what I'm looking at, that's what I'm just explaining, right? The inside bar tells me that the low might be coming to run as well. And now we have a shift in market structure. When price traded into this area, all of these were all liquidity. So where was your point of interest from this high to this low that you might consider to be a point of interest? Now, I know you are using one, but I use the FSCM or something. We only have the rejection block right there. So this rejection block, when price traded into that area, what did price do? Price reacted. I always want to see reaction from anywhere that you are expecting price to get to. Price reacted off this area from this daily time frame. And what are you going to look for? Because this is your point of interest. Price came here, reacted. All you need to do is the next time frame, which is your entry, because we have a change of character. Price run previous liquidity. We are expecting price to come down. And we have this swing that broke this structure right here. Price pull back into a point of interest, reacted. What do you need to go? The next time frame within this level that is going to tell you if we want to sell or not. You can go to the 1 hour, the 15 minutes. I don't know which other time frame you use, but in the 1 hour, this is what happened right here in the 1 hour. New York session was this real sell. Yeah, open that chart right there. I mean, everybody, you have to have some kind of your entry method, what you see. Either session, every section, and this is your way of entry, you know. If FA is here or Rose is here, I've told them this kind of entry before so many times. So in a session or in my point of interest, I want to see price do different things for me. I would say three. What? One is this movement, then come back and continue higher. The other one is the liquidity see break and continue higher. Then the third one is the candlestick itself, the engulfing. So right here we have Asia, London, and New York. This was New York session right here. This candlestick, can you expand your chart from the side?
You think I do what, Andrew? Expand it?
Like make it visible on top of this area, more visible.
Oh,
Yes.
like this?
So right here, what did price do? Price run the previous day high, Asia session, with displays down. Because now you are looking to short this market. What did London do? London traded higher. This was New York. I don't know what time you guys, for me, 12 p.m. my time. I don't know what time it is in New York. I think it's like 7 or 8 a.m. in New York, EST or something. This is where I start look for my entry. That is where my session starts. I think it's like 8 a.m. in New York, but it's like 12 p.m. my time. So this was like 11. This was 12. As soon as I see this candlestick broke this last up candle in this area, after previous day has been swept, we have this rally down to the Asia session. Then London start to push higher. Then this candle broke the last up candle. And you can see how this candle trade back into this area, reacted, and the other one also reacted, and it started falling.
Or you could have just looked at that 4 hour.
I don't know, because I just follow the time frame, right? And even in this 4 hour, you can see the same thing I was explaining. This is the bearish movement. We want to see something like this, or the same thing. You want to see high, low, higher high, then lower high or lower low be formed.
Yeah, I think everybody should have saw the this closed at 9 a.m. I believe. Yeah, this kind of closed at 9 a.m. So, you got a 4 hour bearish OB. You see all the imbalances. You could have at least traded it back down through the imbalances. But I was always looking for it to come to this particular imbalance last week anyway. But
So
I think that if y'all, Andrew explained it a totally different way than I explained it. But I think coming into the month, when we first talked about gold, I remember saying the same thing about that monthly inside ball. Most of you guys probably don't look at these higher time frames on a regular basis. So it would behoove you to kind of like make notes on your chart. If you're not going to look back at the monthly, when you do your monthly analysis, make a note on your chart, like write it in a note or write it in a text that there's an inside bar on the monthly or whatever the case may be, whatever you need to write to remind yourself. But that way you don't get caught up in the moves that the market is making and not look up. I think there is some great opportunity. But also, if you understand that the dollar is getting strong, then you would kind of expect gold not to be strong, or you would expect the opposite. And I know they haven't been running as a couple a lot of the time, but I think most of this stuff should be kind of seared in most of our minds. Like most of us have been trading for a few years now, 3 years, 4 years. You should kind of be, some things should draw your attention, right? If the dollar is weak, you should expect the indices and real assets to start running. You know, if the dollar is getting stronger, right, you should expect those other assets to start pulling back, and vice versa. It just kind of gives you an area to look at. Like you kind of understand how economics works at this point, or how markets work at this point. You know, maybe you're not 100% clear on liquidity, or you're not 100% clear on interest rates, but you kind of have an idea of what markets should go what direction based on the other markets moving. They all can't move the same direction. So that should kind of be clue number one. And then you just go to the charts and you look for your structure. If you don't understand candlesticks, then you're not going to understand what Andrew is talking about. If you don't understand why price runs highs or lows, you know, you're not going to be clued in, right? You're not going to understand when liquidity is getting taken and the market is going in the opposite direction, right? The same way gold down here comes up, grabs liquidity, and then runs in the opposite direction. You kind of have to take your cues, and we kind of talk about these things periodically through our sessions, but many people either don't take notes or it just doesn't, you don't quite get it. So the more you hear this and the more you see it, the more you recognize when liquidity gets snatched, and you should be looking for the market to move in the opposite direction. But if you're new and this is your first time hearing it, then maybe this will stand out to you, right? You're looking for how price is reacting at certain levels, right? And you're looking to see if there's liquidity being taken, or if you're getting a full candle closure above or below that level that price hits. Is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
All righty. So before we got into the gold chart, which is cool, I wanted everybody to see like really how much gold has moved, right? And also not just gold, but silver, right? If I do platinum, it's going to be something similar. But just so y'all can see where you can take advantage of the deterioration of the dollar. People who don't trade, they're just not going to know. They're just going to understand that they can't buy as much, or everything, rent keeps going up, insurance keeps going up, and everybody's saying inflation, and they don't understand. but what you should understand is it's intentional, right? Part of that, them tax cuts for billionaires, is everybody gets to foot that bill, and you're getting to foot that bill through inflation. He's just going to devalue that dollar, and you're going to feel it, via inflation or hyperinflation or whatever, because stuff is going to go up. I know we all laughed, when I told my brother it's going to be $30 sodas, and it might have been a slight exaggeration, but it's really going to be some overpriced things. And to me, car prices and insurance prices are already overpriced. A rent is overpriced, man. Like the United States rent is off the chain. And it is what it is, but it's not going to get better. So we have to become better at recognizing how to grow our money at a faster clip than the dollar's being depreciated. And that's all this is a picture that shows you how you could grow your money. If you bought gold, your money would have grew faster than Trump is devaluing your dollar. Now, I shouldn't say Trump, right? It's not just Trump. It don't matter who's the president. The dollar definitely needs to be devalued. That's the only way we can get out of this debt. Like, you got to kill the dollar. The
Hey,
dollar
let me cut in. Let me cut in real quick
Right, go
to
ahead.
make a point since you guys are on this subject. A while ago, you just said that the billionaire tax cuts, and everybody's going to have to pay for those tax cuts, and you're correct, via dollar debasement. And I just wanted to say shout out to all the dumb motherfuckers that voted for the billionaires and Donald Trump, because this is the inside economics that they don't understand. You're worried about Kiki across the tracks because she's on welfare and she gets $300 in food stamps, and you don't want your tax dollars going to that handout, but you do want your fucking tax dollars going to billionaire handouts, corporate handouts. So that's when I rant about the stupidity of the American people in general, that's what I'm talking about. It's not a political thing for me. It's a dollars and cents thing for me, because what we're giving Kiki, you're going to give away money to someone because we're in debt. It's going to happen. But I'd rather give my money to Kiki than the fucking billionaires. But most people in this country would rather give their money to the billionaires over Kiki. That's the difference, that I think most of us are too stupid to ascertain, and no matter how much you slap people in the face with it, they don't fucking get it, which is why I always just default back to, hey, these motherfuckers are stupid, So anyway, that's all I got.
I have a question. When were we supposed to learn that? Right? Like I hear it on this call. I hear what you're saying, Sean. But like the people that you're calling so dumb, like where were they supposed to get it? They didn't, they just like they're still walking in ignorance.
I, I mean, Kenya, what I would say to that is, I hear you and I agree with you, but where I guess from my perspective is, even when I talk to people and I tell them that and I explain that, you know, most people that I come in contact with, they'd rather dig in. So that's why, I don't know, you've probably heard me and my brother say periodically on this call that most people would rather be right than make money. And you see it, in some of the heated debates that happen over price action on these charts. Like in particular, not to pick on Andrew, but a few months ago, uh, I don't know, I think he got rinsed on a trade, and there was a big debate in this forum, on that weekend after, and he was making all these heated arguments. The problem was price action had said he was wrong already. So it wasn't, anyone in the group saying, hey, you're wrong. Price action had already rendered that whatever his thought process, it had already rendered it wrong. So, you know, so there are times when the dollars make the sense. I mean, it doesn't matter what my political opinion is or your political opinion is. When you look in the numbers and you follow the money, it just is what it is. It's kind of like me saying, hey, these markets are going to go up. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but guys, these markets are going to go up because of stuff that he's doing. Now I could be like a lot of far left people and be like, hey, I don't like Trump. Oh, the market's going to crash. No, it's not. It's not crashing because I'm following the money. They're going up. They have to. So that's kind of the perspective that I try to bring. I try to take my personal opinions out of it and just kind of let the economics drive everything. So, but you're right. I mean, they don't teach it in school, so maybe sometimes maybe I'm a little harsh, when I call people stupid, and I'm not trying to call people in the group stupid. That's not my intent. My larger, when I'm referring to people being stupid, I'm kind of referring to people that do know about money, and I'm referring to people that I talk to one on one, and even when they're faced with the dollars and cents, they just dig in because they value being right over what the money's saying, not what I'm saying. So, but anyway, I guess I hope that answers your question.
It does actually. Thanks.
All right.
Hey, Kenya, at some point we gotta break out a book. I mean,
Yeah, I found an economics course on it's like 35 videos plus an introduction on YouTube. So I'm enrolled.
yeah, I
Even with
think
those economics courses, and I don't know which one you're in, what you have to keep in mind when I'm 52 years old. When I was young, the country wasn't in a lot of debt, so the approach was different, meaning that if I'm running a responsible country, a responsible organization, and our debt to income ratio is not over 100%, then I'm in a capex environment. I'm looking at interest rates. Doesn't make sense for me to borrow this money at this rate because the dollars have to make sense because I have to remain economically viable. But in 2008, that changed, and maybe a little bit before 2008, but we'll just use that as the line of demarcation. At that point, now my debt to GDP or my debt to income is over 100%. So interest rates no longer lead. Liquidity leads. Credit card space / liquidity leads. So if I'm trying to live my life and I make $2,000 a month, but my obligations are $5,000 a month, my income, my GDP can't meet my obligations. So I need the room on my credit card to fill that gap. And then when I max out that credit card, I need the roll. I need them to give me more space, or I need another credit card. Otherwise, I get kicked out of my house and I'm homeless, etc. So the country, their version of the credit card is liquidity. They create liquidity. They create financial conditions that allow growth. So interest rates, we care about them, but we care about liquidity first. I need the space to run the country first. That's why Trump is so pissed at Powell, because he cares about the rate, but Powell's like, I'm not lowering the rates. You're going to borrow this money at this higher rate. And we do it because we need the space first. Then we care about the rate second. It's no different than you're in your house, you can't afford anything, you ain't got money, and someone comes along, hey, I'll offer you a credit card at 30%. You probably don't want it at 30%. You want it at 5%. But if 30% is all you can get, then you're going to take the 30% so you don't get kicked out. That's what I mean when I say liquidity is first, interest rates are second. If we ever get the debt down, which I believe we will when these robots come and put all y'all out of work, and they'll work, basically for free, and productivity will go through the roof, and you'll have all this money to pay down the debt. If we ever get the debt down, then interest rates go back ahead of liquidity, which, speaking of, the politics of it, all these broke motherfuckers out here that voted for Trump, I mean, you expedited the proliferation of the AIs and the robots taking over your jobs. So just like in the days of Reagan, they all voted for Reagan. They voted to export their middle class jobs to China and Vietnam. And here we are 30 years later, they're blaming the Democrats, but they voted for it. And it was Reagan, it was the Republicans. So just like they voted for Trump and the tech bros, they're going to bring all this AI and these computers online. That's why you see this crypto stuff. I keep talking about, tech adoption and paradigm shifts, and no one listens. This is what we voted for. We expedited, these things, putting us out of work. And then 25 years from now, they'll be blaming the Democrats. But the adults now voted for it. They voted for Trump. They voted for it. But there's no personal responsibility in this country. I vote for a guy. He does all these things that fuck my kids, and I blame the Democrats. So it's stupidity. To be reasonably intelligent, not a genius, to be reasonably intelligent in this country is to be frustrated constantly because of the stupidity that surrounds you daily, constantly, you know. And I just shake my head and I just stack my crypto and don't ask me for shit when everybody's out of work. I don't want to fucking hear it.
Hey, so all right, Tug, get off your soapbox. But this is something that stood out to me the other day. I saw this on one of them social medias, and what made me laugh is some ignorant person posted it. Some ignorant dark person posted it and said, "Oh, they got cash flow problems." I'm like, "No, you fool.
You got what?
They got cash problems." I'm like, "You're an idiot. Like the dollar's devaluing by 10% already this year. They're probably using this money that they borrowed out of their house to put it in some crypto or put it in some real asset. So on the other side of this dollar devaluation, they've tripled their income or tripled their net worth. You know, uh, people don't understand how rich people use money. Like, and this is another example. Um, the value of their house is going to go up, but whatever they put their money in is going to go up too, more than likely. Like, especially if
I
they're
mean,
buying crypto, if they're buying indices or whatever, right? If you can get your hands on money is going down, the other stuff is going up. I
if you
mean, money
think
has
of
already dropped 10%.
if you think of your money, I mean, most people on this call are black, so y'all probably can appreciate this analogy. When you were a kid, did you ever make Kool-Aid or somebody made Kool-Aid and it was really sweet, like too sweet? And
Like your mama. Yeah.
right. So if you think of your money, your dollars, your yen, your whatever currency you use, think of that as that Kool-Aid, that solution of water and however much sugar that has it too sweet. And what I used to do was like add water, aka liquidity, to my Kool-Aid, aka my dollar, to dilute it. So that's essentially what's going on with your dollar. It is being diluted. It has been being diluted. The reason the stock market is going higher, the reason that gold is going higher, platinum, silver, crypto, anything that's a real asset is because you measure it with a dollar or a yen or a shitty pesos, Colombian, Mexican, whatever. You measure it in a fiat currency. Every country on the face of the planet is in debt. So every country is debasing their currency. So the price of a real asset, be it a house, an equity, crypto, a commodity like a gold, a silver, whatever it is, they all go higher because of your unit of measurement. It's not that this stuff is getting more valuable. Your unit of measurement is being debased or devalued. It's very easy. So when you look in the big, beautiful bill and you see that all the tech bros are going to get $1 billion checks, more multi-billion-dollar checks, every newborn that's born between 25 and 28, the government's going to give those people $1,000. Who's paying for that? And how? If you pay American taxes, you're paying for it. So when you whine about Kiki across the tracks, being a freeloader, getting $300 in food stamps, I just can't take you seriously. And I got to assume you're stupid because a million Kikis is cheaper than what we're giving to the tech bros. And oh, by the way, all these babies that's going to be born over the course of the next 3 to 4 years. So both parties are irresponsible with money, but at least one throws some crumbs to the freaking plebes. The other takes all the money themselves. If we're making record profits every year, guys, we're making record profits every year. Why is your fucking pay not going up? I thought it was supposed to trickle down. That's what we voted for in the 80s with Reagan, right? We're making record profits every year. Why is your pay not going up? And oh, by the way, they're debasing your dollar too. So not only is your pay not going up, you're not making more debased dollars to kind of compensate. They're debasing the dollar. You're being fucked, guys. We all are. But you vote
Your
for
pay ain't going up because it's stopping at the CEO's office, stopping on the C-suite.
yes, and it's going to
Their
stock
pays,
buybacks.
their pays are going up. Yours
A
are.
simple Google search will tell you that CEO pay is up 1,100% since 1980. The average worker pay is up 54%.
I would pay to go to one of y'all classes. Like if I was in high school and you and Mrs. Tots on a class about this, I would love it.
Say that. That's the truth. I would.
But look, y'all, let me address something real fast because and Yeti asked a good question. She said, how is the debt ever going to get paid off if the workforce is shrinking and all that other stuff? So I just want to explain this to you. I know my brother has said this before, but I want to explain it to you in terms maybe you can understand, and maybe without all the sidebar cuss words. But if you think about this, if you had bought Bitcoin in March 2020, right? If you had bought $1,000, or let's just say if you had $8,300, you could have bought one Bitcoin. It would have cost you $8,314. Y'all see this? Yay, nay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you just held that Bitcoin until today, that same Bitcoin is worth $117,000. That's about $100,000 profit, right? You can take that $100,000 profit and you can pay down the debt. Now, this is on a very small scale. So if you had bought a house in 2020 that cost you $117,000, you went and got a loan and bought you a house. Let's say you had $130K and you spent $8K on a Bitcoin, and you spent the rest of that on a down payment and buying furniture and the rest of that bull crap. This time that we've waited, you would have been servicing your interest, you'd have been paying your monthly house payment, but by now you could probably take the profit, to take the equity that you have in that Bitcoin and pay off that house. Does that make sense? So this is why the government is going to devalue that dollar. We owe 37 trillion. 37 trillion. If you devalue the dollar and the government buys real assets and they just pay the interest, eventually, when that dollar is completely worthless, they can use the equity that they have in these real assets to pay down that debt. And once they get the debt back down to like 70% of GDP, now we as traders are in trouble because the market is not going to be telegraphed like it is now. Does that make sense? I know I lost half of y'all.
What do you mean by
The
telegraph?
last part. Oh yeah, that's what
What
I was
do I
gonna
mean
ask.
by telegraphed? Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. We all know that the government has to devalue the dollar, so the dollar is going to go down. We know that. We know that real assets are going up. We know that, right? That's what I mean by telegraph. Ever since the great financial crisis or the housing market crash that bankrupted the world, the uh the financial cycle has been on a 4 to 5 year cycle. Every so often the dollar is going to get strong and then it's going to go down and real assets are going to go up. It's just been on a cycle. We just came late to the party. But the people who were financially savvy or the people who were trading back in those days, they picked up on the cycle years ago. So all they do is cycle their money through this cycle. Hey, uh, whenever they raise interest rates, we're going to buy the dollar. Okay, the interest rates height cycle is off. Now they're going to lower interest rates. Now we're going to buy indices. They've been at this party for years, for a decade. It's people that have been trading who have picked up on this cycle for decades. It's just a loop. But whenever they get the debt down, they're not going to have to be on a set cycle, right? If they can ever pay this debt down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now liquidity is not going to be in charge. Interest is going to be back in charge. Interest will be the top dog as far as how the markets move.
And here's the other way. I mean, things are never done like through one vehicle or one input. There's always multiple inputs that allow whatever the figurative cake is to be baked. Um, to answer the other guy's question, or to give you a different answer to how the debt will be paid if everybody's going to be paid off, wasn't that the question? Or how the debt's going to be paid if everybody's put out of work? Was that the
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Okay.
The
Think of
robot.
it like this. I drive for Uber. I fly a plane. I drive a train. I do, I'm a grocery store cashier person. Me personally, I'm a healthcare administrator. I go into databases, I run reports, I put the reports in a spreadsheet and I interpret the data, for my boss. So can't a computer go in, at least in theory, and get that report and spit out an interpretation a lot faster than I can? If Elon is successful with his self-driving cars and, maybe in China or whoever else that's working on this, I mean, I don't need no cab driver. I don't need an Uber driver because I got to pay them people. Those people come to work with attitudes, they need time off, they get sick, I don't have to do any of that. I just buy the software one time. And maybe at the end of every day, the end of every week, I got to plug the car into some computer for a software update, for, I don't know, an hour. And, the car's always out there picking up people. And instead of me having to break off some of that money and pay those drivers, I just take all the money for myself. So while the plebes will be out of work and their lives will be shit, you know, the CEOs or the corporations, they will still make the money. They'll probably make more money because again, they don't have to pay the plebes. So and the government can just tax those corporations and there will be plenty of money to pay down that debt. So that's how it will work. I mean, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the Hunger Games, but basically you had, we'll call them the tech bros, flying around in space in spaceships, had all the money, and you had the plebes down on Earth fighting in them cages and doing whatever they was doing. So we're headed to that reality. And I'm not saying that the plebes, because I won't be in the plebe category, but I'm not saying the plebes will be down here fighting, in death matches and that kind of thing. But you're gonna have that kind of wealth disparity, where you're gonna have, basically them dudes that on inauguration day they were sitting in front of Congress, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Musk. I don't know all the guys there, but all those tech bros that are getting these billions that are in a big, beautiful bill, they're going to have all the money, and the plebes are not, I would say if you're an older person and you've done the right things with your money, let's just say a lot of this stuff starts coming. We start seeing a lot of this tech stuff start happening, just say 2030, 2032. If you're an older person and you've been fairly responsible with your money, you're probably not gonna see a drop off in your lifestyle because you've got, I don't know, a good 401k or IRAs or whatever it is that you may have, so you have money. If you are a retiree and you got a pension and a 401k, if you have money, your general standard of life is probably, my guess, won't change too much, but if you're young and you don't come from a rich family, you haven't had a lifetime to build up savings, you don't have a retirement account or a pension, if you're a young person, what are your what are the options going to be if a robot is doing most of the work that we used to turn 18, 20 years old, and we can go out and get those jobs, but they now got robots doing them. I mean, the opportunity is just going to be more narrow. So I don't know, you probably going to have to build houses, lay tile, do electrical work, plumbing work, welding, stuff like that is my guess. I mean, I don't have all the answers. I don't have a crystal ball, but you can kind of see where the train is headed. And then when you start, reverse engineering how we got here, I just point to poor people, and I just kind of shake my head in amazement at it, at this. I keep using the words stupidity, and no offense, but it's just, I think these are grave mistakes, that people are making, because to me, it's like me going out doing everything I can to get cancer, or to, I don't know, to die early, or to, I don't know. I just don't get it, man.
So I have a question. I understand the debasing of the dollars. I understand the pay down the debt with the real assets. I understand the push to go to AI and how people are going to lose jobs because of it. What I don't understand is why is there such a push for new children, right? To have more kids, right? You got this $1,000 incentive to have the kids from 2025 through 2028, I think you said. And then I think about, them shutting down the concept of abortion in majority of the states. So that to me implies that they want us to have children. So why have more children? Why push people to have more children if you're going to move to AI? And I see you saying we need a workforce, but they don't want a workforce. So I can't make
Well,
it make sense.
Kenya, hold on. I'm gonna give you my opinion, and I have nothing. This is strictly my opinion. Um, I haven't
Okay.
read this anywhere. This is strictly my opinion. Okay. If you look at the history of America, it was founded on basically slavery. You know, in a lot of ways, America became the financial powerhouse that it became because you had a bunch of black people over here doing a bunch of work and they were never paid for it. All the money went straight to the top or the slave owners. Then someone comes along, for whatever reason, is like, yo, y'all can't have slaves anymore. So now I got to pay people, which is seriously hurting my bottom line. We already know half of the country, we had a war because they wanted to keep slaves so they can keep their plush lifestyle. They lost. But, we didn't punish the losers. We exalted them. We gave them monuments, which led to Jim Crow and redlining, a whole bunch of shit, So to me, my personal opinion is, like the person said, they need a workforce. So, I'm not saying it'll be back to full-fledged slavery, but you will be paid a menial amount to do the shit that the slaves used to do, is my guess. Somebody still got to cook. Somebody has to clean. Somebody has to do all these things. Yes, there will be robots, but everybody, I don't know everybody's situation. Everybody might not want a robot. Maybe everybody won't be able to afford a robot, but somebody has to do the shitty jobs in society, and my guess is, it'll be the have-nots that'll do those shitty jobs. I mean, think about that school voucher shit that they've been pushing in the South. And Texas comes to mind, but I'm sure they're not the only ones, and everybody's like, oh yeah, school choice. I want a choice. I mean, that briefs well, but they're giving you a voucher. And this is what I mean. Let's just say it costs $50,000 a year to go to private school X. And you, a broke motherfucker, wants your kid to go to private school X. They give you a voucher for $30,000. Do you got $20,000 to pay so your kid can go there? Because they gave you a voucher. They did what they said they was going to do.
No.
Can you make up the gap?
No.
But that rich person that can afford to pay $50,000 without the voucher, he gets the voucher too, dumbasses. So he gets a $30,000 discount. He easily makes up the gap. So his kid goes to that school and learns whatever they need to learn. Your kid goes to the shitty school without resources and doesn't learn shit. Permanent underclass. Your kid's going to turn 18 and 20 and he's going to go work those shitty underclass jobs. But who voted for it? The plebes did. So that it's just another example of
Creating the wealth divide.
yes, but
Well, of course,
it's
but
another example of stupidity on the
it
part
is.
of plebes.
Can I say something after?
But hold on, y'all. Look, like everybody who's in this group has a chance to grow wealth the same way they do. If you can put aside your greed, your fear, all that stuff, right? Like it's not easy, right? The solution is simple, but it's not easy. You have to master yourself and become a good trader or become a good investor, right? A good steward of money, so you can grow your way out of the mess. Most of us are in this as by ourselves, right? Most of y'all don't have brothers and sisters or any family members who are financially savvy. You might be the only one. So, I know it sounds like doom and gloom, and it is for a certain section of people, black and white, people who aren't financially savvy. It is going to be savvy. It is going to be doom and gloom. It's going to be the poorhouse. It's going to be the permanent struggle. But what we're trying to say is, our votes have consequences, right? And many times we're emotional because our guy didn't get put in office. But you have to put that emotion to the side and look at the picture with clarity, right? We understand fundamentals. We understand charts. So we need to make the moves that we should be making when the charts tell us we need to make those moves. If we understand that crypto is going up, it doesn't matter if you're buying Bitcoin or if you're buying you know XRP or Solana or whatever.
Nvidia.
Yeah, you need to be in the game, right?
Yeah, the
And we
game.
all know, hey, the market cap is going up. If you look at gold market cap, same thing. The market cap is way low. But we have the information now. The question is, are we going to do the right thing by positioning ourselves in these assets to ride the wave up, right? We might not ever become billionaires, but we might be able to survive and actually live a decent life. Our kids might be able to live a decent life if we're doing the right things now. We can't go back and change the election, right? With Jed Clampett and Ray Ray and them voted for Trump. It is what it is. People voted for Trump. It is what it is. But even if they had voted for Kamala, the financial situation would still be bleak because we're still $37 trillion in debt. It's still, you might feel better about yourself, but the debt situation is still what it is, and there's not very many options available, right? We can do yield control, right? Which would devalue the dollar anyway. So at behind curtain one and behind curtain two, you might like somebody better than the other person, but the financial options are still pretty similar. Devalue the dollar so we can pay off the debt, or default, and that's not a good option. It's going to be civil unrest, right? I think devaluing the dollar is still going to lead to some levels of civil unrest, but it is what it is. We know what's happening, right? We're aware of it. So now the question is, are we going to do the right thing with our money to position ourselves in a situation to where we can still live decent lives no matter the chaos that might be happening around us?
Are you finished? Sorry, I've just got something to add before I have to run off. For the question about why they're giving away $1,000.
Why what?
Why they're giving away $1,000
To
if you have a baby,
kids, man. Like,
but this it came to me the other day. I was thinking, why are they giving away $1,000? That's so weird. And then they don't want, and then they say that the West is not producing, China's not producing enough, enough babies for the next generation. So we need robots to take over the workforce. Blah blah blah. But why are they incentivizing $1,000?
You still need
but who's gonna think? Oh, I get $1,000 from the government if I have a child. Who's gonna think that? The lower class, the people who are scared, the black people, brown people who want money straight away.
It's not any one color that's necessarily gonna think it, but
I know. But the people who are not financially savvy are
yes,
gonna think,
those
I
are
can
the
get
ones
free
that are
money.
gonna.
Yes.
I can get free money from having a baby, but a baby costs more than $1,000 over the course of the years that the child grows up to adulthood. $1,000.
Have you listened to anything that I've
I know,
been
but let me
saying?
get to my point. It's like
I already know your point.
But they're incentivizing the lower class or the people who are financially aware of $1,000 to have a child, which knows that they know that it's just going to set them back even more in their financial journey. So that's another point that you didn't cover, that if people are not.
Actually, I did cover it.
I did hear you.
Well, if you let me talk, ma'am, I'll tell you.
Yeah, but you were talking for time.
Ma'am, I already covered it, and if you let me talk, I'll briefly tell you my take on it again. You need people to do the menial task in society, so these poor people will likely be born and they'll get the shittier side of the education because we don't have a Department of Education anymore. We're moving to a school voucher system in this country, and everybody's like, well, I'll just take my voucher. No, if the school costs, say, $50,000 and the voucher is a $30,000 voucher, you as a poor person still got to come up with 20 grand to get your kid in that school. You know, the vast majority of poor people will not be able to come up with the 20 grand. So their kids will go to the shitty school, get the shitty education. The other kids will go to the nicer school and get the more quality education. The shitty education kids will be basically funneled into the menial task in society. So you will need, for lack of a better term, a pseudo slave force, to do the crappier job. So that's my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's
Yeah.
what it looks like to me. So
Yeah, I heard you say that. I heard you say that. But the fact is that those people who are going to have, they be incentivized, they think, oh, $1,000 is a great opportunity to, to support me having a baby right now. Actually, it's not. If you look at it in the long run, because a child costs more than $1,000 over the course of time. Childcare is more than $1,000 if you want when it grows up to be like a toddler. You need more money than $1,000, and the price is just going up and up with inflation. So the government's clever in a way, in that they know, like you said, they know they need a lower workforce in the future. So there's going to be people who are going to be tricked into this $1,000 game.
well, I mean, I
You know what,
agree.
Leandra does? Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I was saying that that school of thought, unfortunately, is very prominent. I worked in social services for a little while, and I actually heard someone say, right, this before this this thing that Trump is doing. This happened like a couple of years ago, and I heard someone say that in the more um
More kids they have,
lower
the more
class
benefits to get.
areas, right? They they actually tell the parents tell the children, right, to have children so that they could get cash aid, they could get food stamps. And I
No.
was totally taken aback. I couldn't believe that that was something that was actually a thing, that parents tell children when they get to be 17, 18, have children so that the government can take care of you. So, I mean, what you guys are saying is not far-fetched. I've
But
heard people say it.
is the government cutting those things now in America? I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked into it, but are they cutting the funding for those kind of
In
things?
some, I believe in some cases, yes, they are putting their foot down. It's a lot stricter for you to get certain resources,
Like benefits.
but
We call it benefits over in the UK. And then,
benefits, yeah, you could say that too. I'm just saying that what you're saying, what both of you guys are saying is true. And I actually heard someone say it, and I've heard people who are like social workers. They've told me that they've heard people say that that's actually a school of thought, that if I have children, then I can live off the children and I don't have to work.
no, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
it is. And the other thing that I would just reiterate is, you know, I said a while ago to walk around in this country and to be reasonably intelligent, not a genius, reasonably intelligent is to walk around in a state of constant frustration. So, when you're dealing with this kind of with this level of ignorance to your left and right, and it's by design, this is what you get. So yeah, it's a stupid way to look at things. It's not smart, all that, but that's what you're doing. That's just how it is. There's a reason why they don't teach financial education in school, because if they did, you'd have a lot more people to make better decisions. And the people that understand money wouldn't be able to take advantage of these people so easily. A case in point. Lately, I've had a rash of people. I own an 1.5 acre lot here in town, a vacant lot in a nice neighborhood. We were going to build a house. We didn't build it. We still own the lot. I've had a rash of people calling me, texting me, wanting to buy the lot, but they're all like lowballing me. So, and some of them are pretty belligerent and argumentative. They want to have market value discussions with me. And my takeaway is this, I think I'm getting a rash of calls because these people are financially savvy people. They know that Jerome Powell is either going to lower these rates here soon or next year he just won't be re-upped and a stooge will get in there and will lower the rates. So a smart person, if you're thinking about buying a house, property, whatever, you want to front run the rate situation, and if you can get a guy to unload his property at a cheaper rate because in a high rate environment, it turns into more of a buyer's market because the expense of capital is higher. If you can get your property cheaper because rates are high, knowing that they're going to be lowered in 6 months, you're accomplishing kind of two or three birds with one stone because you're getting it a little cheaper. In less than a year, you're going to be able to refi that shit down, because rates are going to fall down. And I don't have to be in competition with all of you guys in the market when rates are lower. Because when rates are lower, you get 50 million buyers that bid up the thing way over property value because money's cheap. So, just kind of understanding all that stuff has value, but most people in this country, they don't. And not just as it pertains to the housing market, but finance in general. So I think my original point was if everyone is educated, then it's harder to take advantage of people because everybody's out there making good decisions.
Yeah, just think about it. Trump got elected. I mean, his best friend was a child molester. Trump rode the plane with him several times.
I know.
Huh? His best friend was a child molester. Trump has said, he grabbed him by the pee. I mean, he's admitted to sexual assault. He's said how much he likes young girls. He made inappropriate comments about his own daughter, but the geniuses in this country, half of them don't believe that he's ever been involved with children. They believe that he's a Christian. He's a God-fearing man. That's the level of ignorance that's in the United States, and that's the real reason why I'm parked in Colombia. And I'm not saying Colombians aren't that ignorant. I'm sure they are on some level, but the difference is I don't understand Spanish and I don't understand the politics to the point where it's frustrating. The stuff that goes on in the United States, and even with people I know, people I've served in the military with, they'll have the nerve to say, Obama committed treason. you know, man, bro, just tell me you're a racist without saying you're racist, and it's all good. I'm not saying you had to love Obama, but to suggest that Obama was a criminal and Trump isn't, is past wild to me. So, it's the politics. When you have politics and you have a bunch of ignorance, it's never a good situation, especially if you have half of a brain. So I'll just choose to live where I live and be where I'm at, to escape some of the ignorance. And not to get too political, in this space. For me, this space is just about how to grow your money, right? No matter what clown is in charge or who's voted in, the writing is on the wall as far as what's going on in real time. Like we all see that the dollar is being devalued. My interest is that we know where we need to be looking to grow our money. I mean, it's cool trading GJ and it's cool trading AJ or whatever we're trading, but for the long term or the the trades that we know the direction, right, is we know the dollar is going to be going down. So if you're stuck, right, if you're stuck, then you understand, hey man, I can sell the dollar, or I can buy crypto, or I can buy the indices, and you just pick out your buy points because we're on a buy program, right? And the dollar is on a sell program. So you just pick where you want to enter the market, on a sell. So after the pullback, you know that you're going to get in and go that direction for the foreseeable future. Somebody had their hand up.
Yes, I have my hand up. Okay, so I'm not the only person that had this question, but I'm gonna ask. Uh, a little earlier, you guys were talking about, if we're older on the call and we have a 401k and, we pretty much have saved money, then the next couple of years won't affect us. So
I'm
we
not
want
going
to
to tell
know,
y'all
well,
that. I'm
I
not
want to
going to say
know,
that. But Sean said that.
well, right, okay, well, Sean said it. So I want to know, like, what do you consider old?
Well,
Like,
Okay,
we're close to
this is
retirement.
this
You're not
is
close to retirement now.
so this is what I mean. I mean, I don't want to say that it's not going to affect you, but this is what I mean. Um, I'm 52 years old. I was in the Army for 20 years. I retired, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I get a pension. It's pretty decent. So if I lose my job, I'm I'm still in a pretty good place. Oh, by the way, I've invested a bunch of money in crypto. That money is worth, I don't know, between 300K and 400K. So if I lose my job, if a robot showed up tomorrow, or they came, I went in on Monday and they were like, hey, we got this robot program, we don't need you. You're fired. We're letting you go. Whatever it is. You know, I'm still in a good place. You see what I'm saying? Because I've done halfway decent with saving and investing, and I have a pension. So what I'm saying is, for people that are in similar situations, and maybe it's not a pension, maybe it's just retirement, 401k, IRA, whatever that situation is, you know, and they're close to retirement, maybe I didn't say that, or they're already retired, then those people probably don't have a drop off. But I guess even if you've done great for yourself and you have this great 401k, but you're 35, and they brought in some robot tomorrow to replace you, and you can't retire for 20 years. I mean, you probably are going to be hurting, for the next 20 years if you don't figure something else out. So that's kind of what I mean, but if you're a young person, your family's not rich, you haven't had a lifetime to work and put money away into these retirement vehicles, you don't have a pension coming, then and they roll in a robot or a bunch of robots across the board. I mean, I don't know what life looks like for those people in it. Well, I think I do know what it looks like, but I
What
just
is
think it's going to be hard for those people.
They're going to be down at the local chili factor, picking chilies.
They'll have to do something.
Okay, I got one last question. What are we supposed to do as far as like we have all this information? We're in this group, we're trading, we're all going to be millionaires. That's great, right? So, are we supposed to like bankroll our families? If we just inform them, what are they supposed to start trading? Like what action needs to happen as far as taking care of our people?
Teach your family how to trade.
Teach them to trade. But what if but
I
trading's
think,
not for everybody, right? So
That's true, but I mean,
Kenya, here's my opinion, and it's just my opinion. I think this is where grown folks' opinions and decision making kind of come in, and everybody doesn't agree. You know, I agree with the lady that said teach your people how to trade, and I also agree that that's not for everybody. What I think people should do, I think you should learn how to trade or try to, keep plugging away at it. Because let's say you're not a successful trader today, but you show up to this meeting because you're trying to get there, and maybe someday you will be successful. The other play that I beg everybody to do, and I don't think anybody does it, the person that immediately comes to mind is Leandra, is crypto is going to appreciate over the next, I don't know, call it decade. It's going to appreciate greatly. So last week we said, hey, space is $3.5 trillion, market cap for the entire space. That's Bitcoin, that's ETH, that's Solana, that's everything. It's $3.5 trillion as an entire space. We think it's going to $100 trillion. So if you're a struggling trader, or even if you're a successful one, I mean, why can't you take some of your money and invest it and let it work? And then you can still gamble at the trading casino, or if you're a good trader, you can still take trades and make your money like that. I mean, so that would be my recommendation. Or Kenya, I think you work for the government. I do too.
No, not anymore. I don't.
Oh, you don't? Well, for people that have jobs, still put money in your retirement accounts. I mean, that is the stock market. It is gonna multiply your dollars over the long term. So, but to me, the easy play, the one that's gonna give you the most upside without having to take risk like you do when you're trading, you got to lever the shit up because you're trying to make this payday. If crypto is going to return, 50%, 100%, spot without any leverage, to me, that's the no-brainer play. You just got to have a little patience.
And y'all act like this is all happening tomorrow. I don't know how fast it happened. Most of the podcasts I listen to say in 5 years you'll be we'll be seeing it. So I think we have time if we're doing the right thing. So to me the point of the conversation is so that everybody kind of understands what's going on. Like your dollar is being devalued. It's not going to get stronger. It's going to get weaker from here. And the reason it is because we're too far in debt. So, I don't know, I don't know from an individual standpoint, how that's going to affect your decision making. All I can do is show you on the charts, and I post the videos that I watch and get the information from the economists, the people who manage hedge funds. All of them are telling you what they're doing and their strategies, but you have to either believe them or not, right? It's kind of like when I look at Raul Paul, right? When I made my decision to put my money in that Solana, it was based, largely on that dude. You know what I'm saying? If he's 100% loaded up in it, I'm going to load up in that. Maybe I should have did XRP or whatever. My thing is, you don't have to be rich from one play, right? But if you just put your money in there, it's going to go up. You just have to wait the time. Like when I put my money in there, it immediately went down. It went from 210 to 150. You know what I'm saying?
It actually went down to 100.
Yeah, 100. Yeah. So, you can't just like panic and get out, if that sort of thing happens. You just put your money in the basket and you just let it go. Like we trade, we know the cycles. We know, hey, this bull run is coming. We know that Powell has to lower the rates. We know that gold and stuff is going up. I mean, you see, we got people in this group that kill gold, that trade gold on every day. You got New Off, you got Gigi, plenty of people make money on gold. It's not that you can't do it. You just might not be paying attention to it or whatever. Your confidence might not be there. But all I'm telling you is it's going to be a one-way train when it starts going up. And I think Andrew said it a few months back. He was in gold and just started going up for no reason. He was like, man, it never came back. That's kind of what we're thinking. I watched a video this morning that said the gold price should be 15K. I also heard, that the government is going to reprice gold. Whether or not any of that happens, we know that gold is going to go up because it's a real asset. Wouldn't it be awesome if we was in gold and it went from 40 some dollars an ounce to what it really is? And our gold, I mean, it was a black swan event and gold just went through the roof. That would be awesome too. It doesn't matter which one of these plays you take. The important thing is that you understand what's going on and you come up with a plan on how to grow your money faster than inflation. You don't have to have 400K, like my brother. What I'm saying is, can you grow your money faster than that 10% devaluation that they're doing on your money? If you can come up with that, I've helped people now in my 100 pip flip group. If you have a plan where you can grow your money faster than they're deflating it, you'll come out on the better side of it, right? And you just can't keep your money in your savings account. It's going to get ruined. You have to keep your money in something that appreciates, whether it's crypto, whether it's gold, whether you buy a house or you buy land or whatever. You have to keep your money in something real. The days of you saying I got 10K in the bank, you sound real foolish. You probably were foolish back then too, but you really sound foolish now. Why do you have 10K in the bank? If it don't, I mean, that's more than you need. And these days, everything is pretty liquid. Like, you don't need 10K in the bank. If they don't take you 10K to live in a month, I wouldn't have 10K in the bank. But anywho, this wasn't to scare y'all either. It was just to show you, what's happening, right? It's to show you that the dollar has dropped 10%. It's to show you that gold and silver are way up. So now we have the backdrop that we're trading in. That is the fundamentals. That's the environment that we're taking these trades in. So once gold pulls back, or you trade in silver and it pulls back, or if you trade in a dollar, right? Right now, GU and EU are selling. And once they get finished pulling back, now we can get into the trade that we're going to take to the next level. And to me, that's the importance of the conversation that we had, not to fear monger or to make y'all feel any type of way. It's just to give you the backdrop that we're trading in. Now we need to craft a strategy to take advantage of that backdrop.
So remember last week when we was talking about the indexes as an example. And we were like, we put that tool on them and we were like, hey, if you put X amount in the S&P or X amount in the NASDAQ, even if it draws down, it's not drawn down below April 7th. Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
When he's talking about the backdrop, the dollar debasement backdrop that you're trading on, if the dollar is going to be debased and buy less, the real asset, the S&P, the NASDAQ, even the crappy US 30, those things should move higher. So that's blending the fundamentals with the technicals. So again, where I go with it is if you're not great at trading, as an example, but you know these indexes are going to go higher, or that crypto, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, whatever it is going to go higher, you have to buy those things and walk away because we know they're going higher. And remember last week I kept saying it's going to go higher because it has to, because it has to. Well, the other thing I told you guys last week was America gets most of its money, to pay that debt via tax receipts. That's why you have April 15th and all this crap. So if the debt is growing, then the value of the market has to grow. Because if the value of the market crashes, yes, I mean investing. Or you can do it the way you guys do it. It's really the same thing. Investing is just a trade. It's just a trade without leverage. So when you buy the US 30, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the SPX, SPY, whatever it is on them little platforms, and you put that 0.1, I don't know, that you put it at 0.01 leverage, you're not quite in spot. Watu, you can explain it better, but the point is investing and trading, you know, are really the same thing. Just trading typically has leverage and investing doesn't. Your spot. So it can go down. The only way your money goes to zero investing or in a spot position is if that asset price goes to zero. In trading, because you're levered up, you're at 1 times or 50 times or 100 times, then it doesn't have to go to zero. It just has to go down far enough to where your leverage reduces your position to zero. So again, for the people that are good traders, I'm not really talking to those people because as long as you can trade, then you're always going to be able to pull enough dollars out of thin air. It's kind of like having a money tree in the backyard. I don't care how high prices get if I have a money tree out back because I can just go pick the dollar bills off of the tree and they keep growing back. So if you're a good trader, you have a money tree. But if you're not a good trader, you don't have a money tree. So you have to figure out how to grow your dollars. And that's where investing comes in, or very low leverage positions that from a fundamental perspective are going to move higher. But maybe you're not good at market structure and so on and so forth. So you got to tamp your leverage down and allow your money to grow. Does that answer the question? Does that make it make sense?
Yes,
That
the
makes
wheels
sense.
are turning. Yeah, this is great.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. All right, let's talk about some trades. Mm-hmm. What are y'all in?
US 30.
I picked the wrong trade this week.
What did you pick? You should have picked GN, I think. But
EU.
what did you pick?
So look,
Oh, you.
this is clearly to me the better trade. EU is going to sell, but it's taking its sweet time. I like the 4 hour, but if you look at this trade, for whatever reason, I don't know why the euro is moving like this. It went down 60 pips and then came back up. So, it's going to sell. but it's just not selling on my particular time clock. You know what I'm saying?
I thought it broke the area that you said if it breaks here, I'm getting out. Because I
No,
got out of my EU
well,
trade.
I'm talking about the sell. Not I'm talking about the sell.
I know no, you said if it breaks here, we're getting out of ourselves.
Yeah, it bought back up. But what I'm saying is it's selling now.
Sure.
So listen, the first move down was cool. Then it came back up, right? So last week, somebody asked me, hey, it might have been you. How do I know this is not a sign that it's buying back up? And I say,
I
yeah.
think it was me. And
Okay,
then
so
it bought
yeah.
up past the area that you
Okay,
said
yeah,
if
but
it
I got
buys
in
up
for
past here
and I got in for the sale right here.
at the yeah, sure.
So
Can you
that's
throw
what
the line chart on that area right there? I think I can see that it already broke down. It's chalking.
right here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but
Right over there.
okay, so let's talk about that. And I had a few people hit me up with questions. So I know, it's people on the call that still don't see this as a sell. And that's cool. They'll become true believers. But to me, this daily area that had the gap was the important place. Remember, I said there was a daily supply zone that price was going to come to. I want to say I said that on a Tuesday call. On Tuesday call, I think price was down here. This Tuesday? Yeah, this is Tuesday. So this was the daily supply zone. Y'all remember that? The people on the Tuesday
Yeah.
call. So the next day, price bought to that zone and it stopped. I knew because on the call, I told you also, I said, hey man, UJ, I would like to see UJ come push a little bit further down before it buys up. Y'all remember that? UJ was up here.
Mm-hmm.
So when UJ rejected, I knew that the dollar was going to start buying again. I went and looked at the dollar index, all of it jived, right? So that's why I took the EU trade. Now, high insight, the GU moved a lot faster, but it doesn't matter which one of these you took. It just matters if you recognized that price was rejecting at that zone. You either did or you didn't. But if you're a person who recognize price changing directions or reversing, then you should have been taking your trade from that area. So if you got into the dollar trade, in one of those positions, it doesn't matter really what you took. It is several options. You're probably a little bit up. Now GN and EN, again, I like GN too. I like GN and um, I think GA might have closed good too. Okay, from the weekly standpoint, GA gave you a bearish OB, and I think GN gave you a bearish OB. I like those, right? But if you're on the E side of the house, if you're on the Euro side of the house, you didn't get the strong close, but it's still going to roll over. So if you go down in time frames, right, it's just not as far along as that other trade. It's at the top and it's rolling. It'll eventually come down, but it's just not as far in the process. The euro is not cooking off as fast as the British pound. So I think all of those trades are still good trades to either be looking to get into or to be in as far as next week. So I think these are both good options, and I think they're in a good spot, right? You got the pullback. The new candle should be straight drop, right? That's what I'm looking uh, for the week to open up and us to get straight drops on EN and EA. Now, obviously, guys, you have to wait until you see it on the chart. But what I would like to see happen is price to buy up above this wick on this 2-day candle. Maybe it won't do it. Maybe I have to go down in time frame and price just buys up over the wick of this daily candle. I'm looking for some liquidity to get taken from the top before I look for the short. I don't know what time that is, but that's just what I'm looking for to happen before I would get in for a short, right? I would look for some form of liquidity to get grabbed at the top for it to roll down. And maybe it's not on the daily, maybe it's a 12-hour, maybe it's a 4-hour. I don't know. But that's what I would like to see if I was going to enter this trade. Same with EN. Of course, GN and GA, they have order blocks, so I would like to see them buy up first. And ideally, I want to see them take the low before they bought up. Same drill, right? By now, you should have things that you like to see, liquidity that you like to see getting taken before you enter these trades. All right, is anybody trading anything else? I know y'all gonna say JPY, huh?
Yeah, where you think UJ going?
Why? I think UJ is a dollar pair, so I would definitely think it's gonna buy. You said how high do I think it's buying?
Yeah, because I see you was selling EU for quite some time.
Well, I think we need to come to this area, the 152 area. We could come higher than that, but at a minimum, I want to see price come to this 152 area.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we go higher because I think we got a long way to go on EU and GU. We'll see how fast this moves too, because what's this month? August, July, August. So I think we got at least to the middle of this month before we have any changes.
Todd, Andrew went over US 100 with me. Can I just show my US 30 chart?
Sure.
So okay, I'll start at like the weekly or something. Oh, sorry. Here we go. So price closed. So I have two spots. I have a sell area up here, and then I see price coming to retrace down here. All right. We'll have two buy spots up here. But I was going to the daily because I know you like to go to higher time frames first. So price wick above here. So I'm expecting a retracement on the lower time frame. I'll go here. So I have this spot from Friday, right? I could see price selling from here and wiping all of this liquidity, right?
You said selling and
Or
wiping
I
out
could
liquidity?
see it. What'd you say?
You said it's gonna sell and wipe that liquidity. It needs to buy to wipe that liquidity. Like this buy
Well,
wipe.
that's what I'm saying. Sell right here. Right. I'm talking about from up here. I was like, this was the spot I had Friday, but
Mhm.
price didn't reach there. So see? I have a 1 hour bearish order block. So I'm looking for price to sell here and wipe this liquidity. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear. So I'm expecting for price to come here, all
The
right?
liquidity is currently being wiped in the buy.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you. This is liquidity right
Right.
here. It won't be any
I'm
liquidity once
sorry,
price
you're right.
pushes up here. So
I
What
what
are
I
you
get
trying
apologize.
to explain exactly?
but I get what you're saying. You want to see a sale happen from here, from up here.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yes, you're right, Kim. This liquidity is being wiped currently. Yes, I apologize. That's true. So I'm looking for a sell area right here, or I'm looking for price to come and sell from here. Either come and fill this imbalance where this breaker block is, or for it to come and buy here. So those are my three areas
Can you go
that
to
I'm
the
looking at.
weekly?
Can you move your chart to the right?
Sure. Hold on. To the like this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And so, and my question to you is, why do you think it's gonna sell from there?
You mean from here?
Mm-hmm.
Because let me see.
Because it's another block.
That doesn't
That,
mean anything.
yes, ma'am.
No, I was talking to Andrew. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, let me see if I could show you something.
So
I think
just
it'll
based
make
off
a
what
look.
you're
So
showing,
it's a reason, it's a model that I usually use, right? And I feel like there's institutions, right, that have resting orders up here.
and
And they
probably do, but I'm just going off based off of what's here on this screen. That's all I can see,
Mhm.
right? I don't know what's going on over here, so I can't really um give a full analysis, but what I see right now is structure, market structure. Price did not break this low. Price started pushing. You got an impulse move to the top. Price is probably going to pull back and keep pushing. Just based off market structure solely. This is a 30-minute market structure. This is 30-minute structure. So based off of 30-minute structure, this is what I see. So,
Okay.
I mean, and price could come here and pull back, but is it going to break structure or whatever structure is created around this zone? Is it going to shift in structure to then start selling?
Well, I'm not sure. I just know that if when price, I mean, anytime I get into a position, I'm always looking for uh some
So,
kind of reaction or something before I just jump in. I
so
don't just
I
get
so
into the
my
trade.
so my whole thought process is I wouldn't be looking for sales because because right here, just based off what I see, only off what I see, there is structure. There is bullish structure that has not been broken yet. So you
Okay.
continue looking for buys.
How many
Okay.
points is it from
Can you
where
can you
the
go to the
market
four
is
hour?
now to that zone that Kim said it's gonna buy from?
No, it already bought from this. Oh, you mean from,
Yeah, you said you see a pullback and then a buy all the way up to the top, which I completely agree with. I'm just wondering how many pips are from where market is now.
Where do y'all say that pullback's gonna happen? 44 or 5?
You talking about from here?
I can't see.
I was looking I was looking to buy from either here or here,
I think
but
both of y'all a little bit off. That's what I think.
But for me, I will start from the weekly time frame
There you go.
just to
That's what I would
No,
start
no,
from.
no, I agree. She's got to start from a higher time frame. And that's why I said I can only give you my analysis or my thought based off this 30-minute structure that is on the screen right now. Like I said, I don't know what's going on over here. because I can't see it. So
That's what I think right there.
I'm not getting ready to defame Kim up in here this Saturday. I mean, she didn't say
Hey, that's what I think right there.
I
I
mean,
mean,
okay, I can
we
come
are
to
all
the
here to
weekly
learn,
if
right?
you like.
So if you are here, you are not learning anything. So what is the point of being here? I mean, she's showing her 30 minutes chart.
yeah,
We
that's
have to advise her like, okay, you
well,
have to start from a
that's
higher
what.
time frame, you know.
So wait a minute, hold on. I think she's aware that she's already gone to the 30, she's already gone to the daily, the weekly. I'm just saying, based off of her posting this little piece right here, and of course, if it go to a higher time frame, my whole analysis may be totally different. But
But
based
I,
off,
I think hers, she needs to start from a higher time frame.
I understand everybody needs to start from a higher time frame to do a, you can't just give an analysis based off of a lower time frame. I get that. But I'm saying based off of this right here, and she's saying she's going to sell from here. I'm saying this is the structure. If price had broken past this low, then yes, this would be a great point of interest to sell from.
You're 100% correct.
don't let these guys defame you. They
Trust,
know what you're
trust,
saying.
trust me.
No, I agree with what Kim is saying.
You know, I stand 10 I'm
All
going
I'm
to stay
saying
these 10
is
toes down.
um Naima, if you never start at a higher time frame, you're always gonna be uh
At risk of getting rents.
And she did start at the weekly. She did start at the
well,
weekly.
but
But
no,
she did
she breezed through the weekly.
right, exactly.
You
That's what
know,
I that's my
like
point.
you have to actually look at the weekly chart.
Okay,
Go,
I'll go to it.
go back to the weekly chart. So if you're telling me you're starting at the weekly, what are you doing here?
Uh-huh.
You haven't fibbed nothing. You ain't looked at like where is the imbalance? Where's the
Well,
weekly imbalance?
I think I was at did I go to
And
the daily?
even at the no,
No,
go back to the
but
weekly.
go
You
to the
can't you
weekly.
gotta yeah, you gotta and based off the weekly, price
Huh.
closed above this high, price closed above this high, price closed above this high.
I agree.
If you trade like Tide, it didn't sweep the high and close below, right? If you trade like
Mm,
me, price closed above, I'm still looking for bulls. I'm still
I am
looking for
too, but
buy.
I'm looking for a pullback. I don't want it to be a
I
weekly
mean,
imbalance, right?
okay, I'm listening.
What
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, if you trade like Tide, you fibbing that weekly candle. That's what you're doing first.
Okay, I'm gonna fib it right now.
Hmm.
Uh, at a minimum, I want price to come close the imbalance.
Okay.
Some of y'all believe in buying at the high. So if price don't come back, then
Yeah.
you're buying high.
I see a lot of people buy from the high.
Hey, I can't do it.
I can't do it either. We in agreement on one thing, Ty. On one thing. We in agreement.
Hey, make your zone to the 78. Just bring it down to that second line. It'll just it make it a lot more simple.
Okay.
Then delete your fib. And for me, I'm dropping to the 4 hour. Off rip.
All right.
Do I have an imbalance in my zone?
Yep.
Now
God
see,
dog it, that's where I'm trading from.
and based off of structure, right? I'm just
Say it again, Lil Kim.
based
Kim, we
off of
get it. You were
structure.
right. You were
I'm
right. We
just
get it.
saying this is structure, right? This is
Mhm.
the structure. So price, whether you're pulling back to this demand zone, whether you're pulling back to this imbalance,
Mm.
it's got to pull back
Well, there you go. But
before you
I,
can a buy.
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
So then are you saying that So, okay, I have a
And that's
question because you
and
were
that's
saying my cells were invalid.
and that's why I said I was basing it off of what you were showing, a 30-minute zone structure of what you were showing me. And I stated if you showed me in a higher time frame, my thought process would likely be different.
So her
So,
message to you, Naima, is if you use a higher time, you start with a higher time frame, then you don't start on the 30-minute. You're going to see the bigger picture.
and this is the swing high, this is the swing low, this is the break of structure, right? So one of the two has to get taken out first. Either price has to pull back to the demand zone and start buying, or price has to take out this high, and then this is now your demand zone for a pullback to continue selling. Just that simple.
Okay,
Do you get it?
sir.
You get it?
Did
You
you get
understand?
that?
I appreciate the feedback.
But do you understand though, Naima?
Because it doesn't make sense for me to explain it if you don't understand it. I can explain it to try to help you understand it a little more.
I mean, I have some questions, but I just don't want to take up the time on the call, so it's
Naima,
okay.
ask the question.
I guess for me, like I'm not, and not everything is 100% right, or nothing is. You could have a great setup and it not work. But what I was showing you earlier on the lower time frame, and I did start with the higher time frame analysis, right? I just didn't necessarily show it because that was just where my setup was, right? And I know you were saying that you didn't necessarily agree with the cells, but I could show you the model that I've used time and time again, where there are institutions that are sitting right in that area, and price will retrace. Was I saying that price was going to sell for a long period of time? No, because I know that the market is bullish. But that's why I didn't say anything, because I was like, well, maybe I'm just not seeing the chart correctly. So I just I'm just trying to listen to what it is that you guys are saying so I could be better.
So, in other words, Naima, you are not buying what they are selling. You are not picking up what they are putting down.
No, I'm listening. I am. I
I
definitely
think
see.
all I wanted to say at this point is for me, if I'm trading US 30, it's a bullish market, right? So I would be interested in selling it to here. That's a counter trend trade. If you're not cool with counter trend trade, that's cool. But me personally, I'm not buying Jack unless it buys from here, because this is the imbalance in my zone, this in the discounted rate. So I'm not buying it from premium. I'm only buying it from discount. Does that make sense?
No, no, and I appreciate you pointing out the 4 hour, because I mean, it's in the same area that I have, but I do see price coming, like Kim was saying, and grabbing this liquidity. So price could break my area, right? Grab the liquidity and then sell back down. So, I mean, share on Saturdays because it's things that I don't see. So I'm just trying to get better. And I did not see this FVG plus a breaker block right here. So I'm definitely going to be looking to buy from here. And this probably, based off of what you're saying, that this area could get ran and it could go here. So I need to be looking out for that. And that could just be a bad setup. Yeah, I'm okay with saying that.
Maybe, but on the lower time frames, I don't have a problem with price coming here first, going there second, and then to my area. Like all
Mhm.
of that is possible. I can't possibly tell you what's going to happen first. But all I'm saying is if there's two trades that I would take myself. I would take a sell from here down to my zone. This is just me. And then I would be looking to take a buy from here to all-time high.
So wait a second, I have a question because I had that sell area and y'all was like it's bad.
Well, no,
So
no,
now I'm
no. I
confused.
listen, I didn't say it
Y'all
was bad.
said,
I didn't say it was bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I
oh,
said was I would
Mm.
mark my zone on the higher time frame before I went down in those time frames. Now, this could very well shake out the same way you explained it on the lower time frame.
Based off the 30-minute based off the 30-minute time frame, you're within a 30-minute structure that
Right.
has not been violated yet, or has been broken yet. So within the 30-minute structure, price is still bullish.
So
But
it could pull back, like you said, and then go to your sell area. What Kim asked you was, why do you think it's going to sell there based off that 30-minute chart? That's probably why you got confused. I think you didn't understand what she was asking you. Based on that 30-minute chart, why do you feel like price was going to stop and sell right there?
hold on a second. Can I share something? Maybe it'll make more sense
Yeah, please
as to
share.
why I feel like it's gonna sell. Because I've used this for years and like 80% of the time the model works for me. Especially if there's like a previous day high or an old high or something. But
I'm out.
I'm
Kim,
I'm about to
I'm sure Kim is
I'm
not
about to
questioning your model, but what she's asking you is based on the structure.
received. Hold on a second. Mm, Okay, so I've used this. Can you see my chart or my screen?
Yeah, the liquidity.
Yeah. So I've used this for like a long time,
Okay.
right? Where
Uh-huh.
this would be the model that I would get into. Excuse me. Well, you can see banks. I don't know if I can make it bigger. I'm sorry if you can't see it. But banks usually sit up here
Hmm.
and they get all the orders that are down here and then price will plummet. But again, I do agree that we are in a bullish market. So could price blow through that? Absolutely.
so
So
based off
I'm
this
looking
chart,
for, ma'am.
based off this chart that you're showing, that they're showing,
Mm-hmm.
you had a break of structure,
Mm-hmm.
a change of character. So yes, I would be, and this is exactly what I'm saying on what you showed on the 30-minute. Based on structure, price has not shifted the character in that 30-minute chart that you showed. So I would not be looking for a supply zone to sell from. I'm only looking for a supply zone to sell from once I see a shift in structure. Otherwise, this is a demand zone, which is what the 30-minute was showing for a pullback to continue buying. So this chart, I don't know what it is, but just what you're showing, I see a shift in structure, and then I would be looking for a supply zone to sell from.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Well,
Can you pull your
thanks.
30-minute chart back up?
Sure.
'Cause I know it's people in here who don't see it. So I just want to show you or show whoever doesn't get it. I know Miss Linda said show me. I don't know if this is what you was talking about, Miss Linda. Okay, can you go back to the 30-minute?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if y'all are looking at this 30-minute chart, the market comes from here, pulls back, goes higher. So this is my swing low. This is my swing high. This right here is just a pullback. And price is headed up. If you look down, if you on a lower level, then you probably have a swing from here to here, an internal swing, right? So you're looking for price to just keep going up. There's nothing on this chart that's showing you that price is going to break any lows. So because the structure is bullish, we should be looking for bulls. On this lower swing where we broke this high right here, is there imbalance? Yes, there's an imbalance right here. So you should just expect price to come back and hit this imbalance to keep going higher. There's no reason on the chart to look for any sell, right? Because just based off of this 30-minute chart, the structure is bullish, so I'm expecting price to just keep going bullish. If you look at it on the bigger time frame, now you see, hey, the 4-hour we broke structure, and there's a demand level down there with an imbalance that price needs to pull back. So now you have a reason to maybe look for price to either change directions in this order block, or maybe it just wicks the high and change the direction.
But hold on, maybe this is a change of character. Who knows? Right here. Maybe that's why she wants price to come here and sell.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm
So is
like,
that what you're saying is a change of character?
Usually this is a lower time frame, right? But you can see.
Wait. What I said, and there's nothing wrong with that, but what I said, and I think Kim saw this the same way, this was a pullback. If you're telling me that that's not the way you see it, that changes everything. If you see this is a pullback, and then this is a pullback, that's cool. Then that's what you need to say.
Yeah, Naima, is that a pullback for you?
But that's how you have to explain it for clarity, because if you see this as a pullback and this as a change of character, that's cool. That's you're 100% correct. We don't all see structure the same. But I'm explaining this exactly how I saw it, and I'm assuming that Kim saw this the same way. There's nothing wrong with it if you saw this as a pullback, because there are plenty of times where I say, "Hey, man, this is my breaker. That's a change of character for me, or this is a change of character for me." And some people don't see it the same way. I stick to my guns because that's the way I see it. If that's a change of character, then that's cool.
Do you consider this as a change of character, Naima?
Honestly, I didn't notice it until she marked up what I had earlier, right? And I was like, well, when Todd asked me to pull the chart back up, I was like, well, that does look like a break of structure. But I was like, you know what? Maybe Kim's been trading longer than me. So I know she trades US 30.
Naima, that's not the way you look at it. Don't look at somebody
What
who's
I'm
been
saying
trading
is
longer than you. You either
I don't want to be so bent on my setup, right?
But it's
like
not
that's
about
why I
being bent.
shared it.
But this is a structure. It's a structure thing. It's the way you see structure. The way you see structure is the way you see structure. The important thing is that you see it that way every time. Just like Kim doesn't agree with me whenever I say, "Hey, man, that's a break of structure," and I pull out the line chart. For her, no, the line chart doesn't determine a break of structure. She wants to see a candle close below a wick or whatever. I look at the body of it, and I can use the line chart to tell me if it's a break of structure. It's not that Kim's way is right and mine is wrong. It's just the way I see it versus the way she sees it. The difference is if you see this, what Andrew marked up as a change of character, then you're looking for a sell at that zone, which is perfectly fine. Y'all understand that? It's not a right or wrong thing. It's
Mhm.
whether you see it that way.
Well, I okay, so to some extent, right? I'm not gonna say that I agree with that because people could look at charts and they could be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So that's why I share the
Naima,
chart.
but Naima, neither Todd or I are always right. So it can be wrong. I mean,
exactly.
it,
But do you see if you see what you see,
But
whether what you see is right or wrong, price action will determine whether it's right or wrong. But what we're saying is if you see that as a break of structure or a change of character, right? If you see that that is a pullback and a push up, and this is your swing low and that's your swing high, it's nothing wrong with you seeing it that way. Then yes, once price gets up here, now you're taking shorts because of that change of character. It's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, can you articulate that? Like, if that's what you see, you say, hey, man, this is the way I see it, and it is what it is. That's why when I mark this up, I said, this is what I see: impulse move, pullback, impulse move. This is
so
my swing low. This is my
I
swing
have
high.
a question. You said that price didn't break structure. You don't feel like this broke the structure right here?
No, not for me.
that's not part of the structure. The swing high, swing low is still it's in with it's within the swing low and the swing
Uh-huh.
high. So anything in between is not, for me, is not structure. Structure either has to break that high or break this low. This was just a sweep of a
Liquidity.
I guess I don't subscribe to all that because it just makes trading more difficult. It just I I look for my swing low, I look for my swing high, and either it's gonna break the low or it's gonna break the high. Whichever one, it's gonna break it or sweep it. However you look at it, right?
And
But
like I said, I
any any
appreciate.
anything else in between here, I don't concern myself with. I am waiting for, if I didn't get in right here, if I missed, if I saw and I said, okay, this is structure, and I saw this was coming back, I am going to set a limit each and every time at this zone, put my stop loss below this swing low, and then I'm gonna take it up to this high. Each and every time I'm going to do it that way. Until now, if price came and closed below this low, and whether I had a stop loss or a hedge, it's either going to stop me out or it's going to hedge me in. And then once price pulls back to a supply zone, my hedge, my buy limit that I had, I will take profit at the supply zone, and my hedge will be in drawdown. And as soon as I see a shift in structure, then I'll get into another entry to then start selling so that I can be in profit in the sell. I will still be in the hedge, and then I will take my TP for both the hedge and the sell somewhere up in here, or somewhere up in here, if that made sense.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. And I definitely will be looking. Like I said, I'm primarily bullish, but I really just had that spot for a pullback. But I will definitely be taking everything that everybody said in consideration. Um, because price could very well blow through all of what I got and go down to that 4 hour zone. So
So based off the document that you showed, I'm not sure if it was a doc or I forgot what you called it. So
it was just
so you
a
don't
setup that I usually, huh, ma'am.
so do you see that um the money makers or the banks, or I can't remember how you described it. With this impulse move, you don't see that same strategy within this zone right here.
Yeah, it's just flipped. Yes, I do. And now, so when I started studying like trading and stuff, it was like when I started like studying ICT, it was like 2022. So I usually see like bear setups a lot easier because the market was bearish. But yes, I do see this flipped. Yes, ma'am. I see that. I see banks coming and grabbing this right here and then price buying. Yes, ma'am. I do. I understand what you're saying.
Gotcha.
I mean, because as you said before, all of this, I'm not trading this. This is just liquidity to me. So it's either you're going to come and get buy side liquidity or you're coming to get sell side liquidity. And so I'm going to trade it after the liquidity sweep.
Got
And
it.
well, yeah. I was going to say one of the reasons why I looked at this was because let's see, there was a similar setup on Friday, right? I could show it to you that I took. Mm, okay, so I took this on Friday and then it broke Asia's high, right? But this was all liquidity, right? It came back here. Well, first price came and broke and came down to the previous week's low. And then later, like maybe in the afternoon, well, price created like a block and it came back and it bought. So, but this is just it flipped. Like you were asking me if price flips, if I saw it the other way, and I do. So that's just an example of something that I took on Friday. That's similar to kind of what we're talking about, but it's just bearish. Am I making sense?
Yep.
Hopefully. Okay. But I pay attention to when you guys talk because I'm like, okay, well, I need to add this, or maybe I need to see things differently, or I'm not seeing it all the way. So that's really why I share because sometimes I don't see it all the way, or I'm not seeing price like I need to. So I appreciate the feedback.
Welcome.
Anybody else want to share?